Ladies and gentlemen of the Nintendoverse, we are less than 3 weeks away from the biggest show of the year. E3 is upon us, and we are here today to give you our E3 predictions. What's up, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. I've got Jake and Gabe, of course, because all three of us had to put our heads together to come up with our personal predictions and our group predictions for the big show. And most importantly, we want to know yours. So make sure to leave in the comments down below your predictions for Nintendo at E3. Flesh them out. Tell us why you think they're going to happen, what you think is going to happen, and we are going to make a special bonus comment for us all about your E3 predictions. So let it all out, whatever they may be. Let us know if they are sensible, if they're a little pie in the sky. Put them all down there, and we'll pick our favorites and discuss them and say what we think.
If they're a little up high in the sky or a little pie in the sky?
He said pie in the sky, which
a little pie.
I was going to
interject
it because I want to know where that like term even comes from. Like, I don't get it, but whatever.
I think it comes from like if you're, pie is good. So if there was like pies in the sky, that would be like, it's like raining cats and dogs, raining money.
That's definitely not it. Okay.
Raining pie.
That's not the topic for this video.
So if you know the origin of pie in the sky, or if you have E3 predictions, leave them in the comments below. And later this week, we'll come back at you with a big comment for us reacting to your predictions. In the meantime, though, boys, Nintendo at E3, they've got the spotlight. They've already said Mario Odyssey is going to be a big part of it. They obviously have the booth. They've got the Treehouse presentation revealing and showing off more. They've got the ARMS and the Splatoon 2 tournaments. What is going to happen during those 3 epic days?
And I believe we are kicking it off with me today, Zachary.
Well, let's kick it off just with what you think in general.
Oh, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think that they're going to have like a really good showing. I feel like they on purpose held a lot of stuff back from launching with the Switch so that they can spread it out throughout the year, and we don't know about everything. So Xenoblade's still coming, and Fire Emblem's still coming, so they do have other bigger titles. It's just that I feel like 1 or 2 new surprises would like really round out the year. Hopefully some third-party support, bring some third parties out and show some stuff from there, and we'll dive into that a little bit with our predictions in a moment. But of course, I think they also talk about the online functionality and finally maybe show the app or something. Who knows?
Yeah, Jake, that was sort of your big thing, right? On more basically like quality of life and UI and online upgrades.
Yeah, for sure. Like, they have done a good job of like showing new Joy-Con colors, so they're not really going to talk about that, I don't think. They've they've shown some new games and given some looks into the future and the more near future with ARMS and Splatoon 2, given some in-depth looks like that, so built excitement around that. So I think that they're sort of like their test window for the Switch has gone really well. Their sort of launch window extended period before E3 has gone really well. So I think that they are just going to kind of give an overhaul to the whole system in general, from the internal workings of it to the external with the games and third-party support and things like that. So I think we definitely get more details on the online app and online functionality, and probably even a date for the online app. And obviously like games and things like that. But yeah, so I think less to like focus like on like they kind of got out of the way all like the new Joy-Con colors or things like that, and they're probably just gonna, I think, cater to the people who have the Switch, like the Switch, but want to see the improvements, and they say, okay, so people like the Switch, it's going well, here's how we're going to make it a full-fledged like console replacement to like be your top tier console.
Gotcha. And I mean, I think we all believe that Virtual Console will be fully unveiled and probably released,
or at least the first phase of it.
Yeah.
Well,
during that time
speak
period.
for yourself. I don't subscribe to the it being released thing. No, I do not subscribe to that.
You think it's a fall release?
I don't know. There's a lot of time between now and the fall. Like, it could be like in a month, like 2 months. Huh. You're saying that you're saying that you think it's going to be released like
yeah.
No.
I think that they're going to detail the online, like Jake mentioned. I think that they're going to detail maybe some more upgrades to the general system, whether that be, hey, we finally got the YouTube and Netflix apps working. Hey, we got themes for the UI. Hey, we got, the app, whatever that may be. But I think Virtual Console is definitely going to be a part of it, and I think they are going to drop it that week. I think they are going to...
You think they're going to overlap it with ARMS?
I don't know that it...
Are they going to save it for a time when they don't have... Because... I mean, they've been pretty much putting out like a big game every month, and I don't think that's going to continue through the year per se. So would they save it for a more of a downtime?
Well, I guess the question is, when do you drop it then? Okay, they're gonna show Virtual Console. They've already committed to NES, SNES games for subscribers to their online, which is coming later this year. So do you wait till September to release it? I mean, personally, it feels like the kind of announcement that is like, and Virtual Console is available now. You can go pick up, X, Y, and Z games. Hopefully they have a pretty substantial list. Most likely they will have a small list just because that's how sort of VC has worked in the past. But yeah, I fully expect, if they came out and said Virtual Console, here it is, look at it, it's pretty, and it's coming, August 31st, I would be like, what?
Yeah, the only reason I can think to do that is like a build up to Mario Odyssey, but I mean, not just like, I don't know, it doesn't really need any more hype than it already has, so maybe not. But so I guess let's wait and see.
Right, the other way to look at it is, does having Virtual Console add incentive for people to pick up a Switch, and then they see ARMS and they're like, oh, now I want this game as well? Like, do those two compete, or is it just another service that provides extra added value for the Switch? Because I do think that, yes, they need to reinforce the current owners, but there still are plenty that are like, this is a Zelda machine. So they're going to have to sell it as, why now dive into Switch before Mario Odyssey?
True.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait and see. But again, I don't think it happens. You do. That's totally fine. We'll see who's right.
In terms of the booth, though, guys, do you think that they have said, Mario Odyssey is going to be a major focus? Do you think that takes up a large plumber's share of the booth, or do you think it's more of their traditional, hey, we got a little bit of everything, maybe some 3DS stuff, showing off the new 2DS XL, more of a variety smorgasbord?
You have to think that Odyssey, it's so big, the game itself. So it's going to take up a good chunk probably, but they have the Splatoon and ARMS tournament, so that's going to be probably like in a corner somewhere. Maybe the new 2DS XL. I didn't even think about that, honestly.
I do wonder if that gets floor space.
I hope not.
I assume it's going to. I mean, they have set it up so that July, is the month that they drop that, and Hey Pikmin and some of the other titles. So there's going to be a section for that, I feel.
Yeah.
Even if it's not being covered in the Spotlight, because the Spotlight is exclusively Switch. And then the Treehouse presentation from the show floor will highlight 3DS stuff. And then I feel like, I don't know if you remember, Gabe, I'm not sure if you were at this one, but when Mario 3D World was shown at E3, it was very odd because the game, by all accounts, was like a big announcement, a big release for Nintendo, but they only had a couple demo stations and there was hardly anyone playing. It was very, very weird. And I hope that they find a way to sort of, maybe not a full booth conversion, but blow out Odyssey in a way that is more of a spectacle like Breath of the Wild.
Well, do you think that they have like a themed room the way they did with Breath of the Wild?
They've already had conventions in Japan where they've brought like a it's not like a sculpture, but like a big standee of Mario's hat flying machine. So I think they'll definitely bring stuff like that there to make it more of a spectacle. I think that'll be like the centerpiece for their booth.
I have to imagine, right? The Breath of the Wild one was so iconic and so successful, and people thought it was like so cool that you'd think that they'd want to double dip and recreate that, even if it's not the entirety of the booth, that there would be more, almost like a Nintendo Land, right? So like, oh, over here's the Mario Odyssey area, and here's the ARMS area.
I think that the booth is gonna be Switch focused, and that's gonna make their big posters and big statues and big things and big setup. And then they might have 3DS or 2DS stuff like tethered to their employees, like they have like walking around keeping people occupied like in lines and whatnot. But I think their main focus for the booth is gonna be all Switch stuff. ARMS, Splatoon 2, Mario Odyssey are probably gonna be the big three that they're focusing on.
This is semantics, but I believe that the actual room on the show floor for Nintendo this year is like bigger than it has been in a little while.
Yeah, they do have a very large section.
Yeah,
I do remember.
So they
seeing
do
that
have like way more like floor room than they had before in that giant like hall that they have.
And, you think that they pack it in because we haven't seen or played Fire Emblem Warriors. We've barely seen Xenoblade 2. So even though those are known quantities, they're not really. They've never been playable. They've never, had gameplay demos shown. So those are going to be exciting to see. I expect both of those to be there in big ways. And I guess from there we can kind of carry into our personal predictions because that's where it goes from here. Because we know the known stuff, right? And now into the unknowns. Gabe, why don't you kick us off?
All right. So we each have three and that like kind of like real predictions, and one like more like it's not going to happen, but it would be cool if. So I really think it's time for Metroid. Like, it kind of feels that way. Before we actually started recording, Jake had mentioned some of the comments that Reggie made earlier in the year. And yeah, Reggie's done that before, but it kind of feels like it's time, especially with the goodwill that the Switch is getting. They went a full console cycle with no, like, real Metroid game. Federation Force came out in 2016, but, I don't consider that, like, a real Metroid game. I don't think a lot of people do. Other M was in 2010. That was a very long time ago, 7 years now. They released the trilogy in 2009. Corruption was in 2007. So the last like real Metroid game was in 2010. The last Prime Metroid game was in 2007. It's such a large gap, and Retro has said that they're not working on it. But I don't know that I believe that. I feel like
fake news.
I feel like it's just because I think that they want this to be like this big surprise. And I go back to the David Jaffe thing, and a lot of developers and companies do this. And they're not doing it with like, oh, I like lying to you. That's not what it is. But, and again, David Jaffe's like very different than Nintendo. But he said for the longest time he wasn't working on Twisted Metal. Then, yeah, he was working on Twisted Metal. So it's not like people don't lie, like to preserve some type of surprise.
Right.
But even if it's not Retro, I feel like Metroid is coming. I really want it to happen. I don't necessarily even want like Metroid Prime 4. I want like a separate thing. Maybe kick off a new trilogy with like this big new adventure of some kind. So I feel like it's time for Metroid. How do you guys feel about that?
It would definitely be the talk of the town. I mean, I feel like that's the big Nintendo property that hasn't been seen for a while, that if it was shown, not only would be like a huge deal, but I feel like it would at some level like embolden the Nintendo fans even more. Like, okay, they've listened, they're finally delivering, this is huge. So I'm still skeptical on if it's this year or next year. You know, they did say that they're going to focus on 2017. There's still room for 2018 announcements, but I don't know. Maybe this is sort of like their end of the spotlight tease, right? They just kind of throw up like a really good graphics Samus like visor pan or something of that sort.
Yeah, I mean, I've never played any of the Primes really, so I haven't really played a 3D Metroid per se. But I have played like Metroid Fusion and stuff, and I know people probably rather like a 3D Metroid, but I kind of think of like a super high res like Metroidvania, like a Metroid Fusion would be super cool on the Switch.
I would like.
There's that rumor
like
that there's a 2D one in the works.
I wouldn't mind that at all. It's just about what they put out, and I don't. Yeah, it's focusing on 2017. Do I think that we get a Metroid game in 2017? No, but an announcement would be cool, and it's, like. Just Reggie kind of said it was happening, so let's put our.
But he said it for years.
Yeah, no, I know, but shame on them if they keep doing it. But other than Metroid, because I do feel that's coming. Smash, I feel like there's a Smash port coming because Mario Kart did so well, the deluxe version.
Now, here's my question for Smash: what the heck do they call it? They can't call it Super Smash Bros. Wii U Deluxe.
Well, no, I think they just call it Super Smash Bros. Deluxe.
Okay.
Or just call it Super Smash Brothers for Switch, because all the other ones are like for Wii U, for 3DS. So just call it for Switch or something. I don't know, but right, they have.
I think you could just call it Super Smash Bros. And then you know.
Yeah, they have to capitalize on like the ravenous like fan base that they currently have. Like, people are still having trouble getting Switches. Everybody that has a Switch is buying all of the games. The attach rates so far have been really, really well. Again, Mario Kart, highest selling Mario Kart of all time, and it's a port. So Nintendo has to see that and say, hey, we have Smash Brothers. That does pretty well too. Let's see if we can kind of double down on that. So I think that's happening as well. I think that's a safe one.
I very much think we get a remake, and you feel strongly that it would be Smash Brothers over Mario Maker or something else.
100%. It makes the most sense. I think you sell the most copies.
It also makes the most sense to have shown Metroid every year. Reggie said that it was coming.
Sure.
I think this one is likely.
Yeah, I think maybe out of all predictions,
this
is probably the most likely. I mean, other than the next one I'm about to say, I guess.
Yeah, your next one is the for sure.
Right? Well, Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That has to be real, right? Like, I was thinking the other day, like, what if that game's not even real? Like,
oh, it is. It 100% is.
I know. People have seen it at this point. Like, yeah, I fully think it's real. So, obviously, I think that's going to be a focal point in their presentation as well. Or their spotlight. Finally get to see what the game is all about. There are claims that it's more like Final Fantasy Tactics as opposed to like the traditional Mario RPGs that we've had. I'm excited for it though, because
if it's coming this year, do they have it on the floor to like a playable, not the full game, but like, do you think that they'll have it? Like, if they announce it and they go and like show what it is, do you think that it's gonna be on the floor playable?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is, and the rumor has been that this is going to be like an August or September title.
Yeah.
So I think we get it. To me, this is like a huge nerve-wracking announcement because I feel like it's either boom or bust. I feel like it either looks really cool and it captures some of the RPG, nostalgia and love that we have for when Mario has been involved in that genre, or it's like this out-of-tune Minion-style Rabbids Scream Fest that nobody wants to even touch.
This is one that I'm not worried about at all because, like, Nintendo has a track record of, like, working with third parties to make exclusive games, like when Capcom does some stuff on portables like 3DS and things like that, or GBA. Like, they've done a good job. So they've given us no reason to worry. I mean, obviously, I'm not into Rabbids. I know nothing about them. Yes, they're super kitty, but I feel like Nintendo's going to rein that in. I really do. And I think it's going to be a cool game. And given the fact that the gameplay is probably more intricate, it's a little bit more strategy-based than, like, turn-based, just traditional RPG elements, I feel like it's a little more hardcore than we might think.
See, I think it's the opposite. I'm afraid and leaning towards that's going to be more of a dumbed-down game to introduce younger generations to, like, RPG type things. Because I can't imagine that to take Rabbids, which is just like a WarioWare minigame type franchise, and then make it this super hardcore RPG out of it. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't think it's like super hardcore, but I also don't think it's going to be as casual as everyone seems to think it is. I think it's definitely going to be somewhere in the middle. And they've done well with that in the past, so I'm all for that. The last prediction I have here is one that I don't think happens at all, but Golden Sun has been gone for a little while. I don't know if you guys noticed this. So, like, everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people remember when Reggie came out during at that time, what was a press conference, and he said, like, hey, there's this franchise that we haven't had in a little while, but it's back, and then they announced a new Golden Sun game. There's like exactly a 7-year gap between Golden Sun, The Lost Age, and Dark Dawn. So now another 7 years have passed by. So I'm hoping that we get Golden Sun back for Switch. That would be really, really cool. And do I think it happens? No. I don't think Golden Sun sold very well, like, towards the end, especially with Fire Emblem taking off the way it did. But yeah, 7 years of a dormant franchise like this, maybe. Who knows?
I would love that one a lot. Don't think it happens.
No, I definitely don't think it does either. But you see,
I am curious to see, like, at this E3, if we get any sense that some of the 3DS development has shifted. Obviously they have the 2DS, like we mentioned. They have Hey Pikmin. They have, what's that game called? Ever Oasis.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, are we going to get a bunch of 3DS announcements, or are we going to see some of those teams shift, or are we going to see some 3DS style games appear on Switch? I think that's going to be very interesting to find out.
Yeah.
All right, Jake, hit us with your 4.
All right, so Zach kind of mentioned this before, but I really think that they are going to give the UI and sort of the main home screen of the Switch a overhaul. Not like change it completely, but I think they're going to add themes or some type of wallpapers that you can either purchase or have it tied to, like, My Nintendo Rewards, or you can use, like, the coins you get from there to buy new ones. And introduce maybe some new avatar pictures as well, but kind of just perk up the whole interface, especially if they're going to introduce Virtual Console and stuff like that, to really just give it a more lively and cool appeal, to have, like, their whole, again, if they're going to add, like, streaming services and things like that, just to have it be, the home screen be, like, fully fledged out instead of just a white or black background. So I think they're going to just enhance that in some fashion for sure.
I wish we could use. I'm sorry to cut you off for a second.
No,
here,
go ahead.
But I wish that we could use screenshots of the games we take. Like, why can't we just use those as themes?
Because they can't sell those to you, Gabe.
So,
I mean, we saw the groundwork for this being laid on the 3DS. The themes there, I thought were pretty cool. I don't know how they sold, but you have to imagine that something similar is coming to Switch. Yeah. I think that's a great call, Jake.
And then number 2, I think there's been talk of this Zelda mobile game, and I think that they go into a little bit more depth about what it is, at least I hope so. And personally, I think that I don't really want, like, a knockoff, like you're just, like, tapping to shoot arrows or something like that. or like a outrun the bokoblins on your horse type of thing, or something, or a match 3. Like I don't want anything super simplistic like that. But I think something like a trading card game, or like a Hearthstone type game would be really cool, or like a simplified like dungeon like crawl game where you're going through different levels, fighting like different waves of enemies with like your little party or something like that. And get like customization of new weapons and outfits and stuff. Some elements of Breath of the Wild baked in there. I really don't want like a cooking match 3 or something like that. But I think that they'll go into more details about what that is, maybe give a hint of when it's coming, and just sort of show that off more so that they can dabble in the mobile arena a little bit more.
I think it'd be so cool if that ended up being like an RPG, like a Zelda Tactics. How sweet would that be?
Yeah. It'd be interesting, if they go like a more simplistic route, or if they go like a full-fledged, like rounded out game. And then
I think the history says like simplistic, just based on Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes. But with the success of Breath of the Wild, I feel like they could do anything and it would work well. So maybe they do take a little more umbrage and go a little farther in terms of complexity.
This is another one that I think is like pretty safe. I think Smash, Mario, and this definitely happened so far. Out of the things that we've said, like.
And Rabbids.
No, I think that's Mario.
I said Mario. That's what I was talking about. Yeah.
And then number 3 for me is a Pikmin 4 tease. I'm kind of up in the air about this because I think that I don't know if they're going to have Metroid and Pikmin, but we kind of know that Pikmin is coming. We know that Miyamoto, I almost said Miyazaki, Miyamoto loves Pikmin and gardening. So, and it's also a little close to Hey Pikmin, so I'm a little bit shaky on that as well. But I think a Pikmin 4 for Switch will get teased in some way, or at least say that they're working on it. Maybe just show like a graphic or something in the same vein as like a Metroid announcement. But I think we get some taste of that, and I'm super excited for that because I have not really played Pikmin since the original one, which I didn't even play through. And the multiplayer was super good. So I'm just imagining playing like single Joy-Con local multiplayer on that, and a single Switch would be super epic. So I'm super looking forward to that as well.
I think that's something that I'm like super jammed for. I love Pikmin 3.
It's more likely than Metroid, in my opinion. I think we get a Pikmin announcement before Metroid 1, sadly.
But I don't know if it's sad. Pikmin 3 was absolutely epic.
It's sad to me. We had Pikmin not long ago. We haven't had Metroid
really
since 2010.
Metroid.
Of course, a lot of people do. Well, obviously, not as many people, because then we would have had it by now. Metroid doesn't sell well. That's the problem. Like, people love it, but it doesn't like do super well. And I hope that they can turn that around. But that's off topic. I do feel like Pikmin is coming. They've said that Pikmin 4 exists. We know that. We don't even know that another Metroid exists right now. We for sure know. Yeah, we know that someone somewhere is playing Pikmin 4.
Well, yeah, and to get a little more detail there, Hey Pikmin is being developed by Arzest, the studio behind Yoshi's New Island. It is not being developed by the mainline Nintendo team. So in 2015, Miyamoto said that Pikmin 4 was nearly done, and so I think the thinking is that they held it for Switch, or that they reworked some of it for Switch, and that those games are not the same thing. So my guess is that Pikmin 4 has just been waiting for the spotlight. I feel like if they said the game was nearly done in 2015 and Hey Pikmin is not it, then this one to me feels almost safer than Smash. Yeah. So we shall see.
And then
I definitely think Hey Pikmin was not it.
Hey Pikmin is not what?
Pikmin 4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no. I just was saying that they would put them out around the same time. Anyways, on to my dream reveal, which would be a new Luigi's Mansion game. I don't want it to be in a mansion, though. I would like it to be either on a big haunted ship, or underground, like a cave or something, or I don't know, but just not another simplistic mansion. But same basic premise. I think that'd be really cool. We got Mario Odyssey. He's going off on his own adventures in his flying machine all around the world. Luigi's got to hold down the fort and suck up some ghosts. And I think that it'd be a perfect title for Switch. Playing on that nice screen, it'd just be beautiful.
Okay, Jake, let me sell you on this. What if it was called Luigi's Mansion 3, but the mansion was Peach's castle? Like, Mario's off on Mario Odyssey, so Luigi has to exterminate the Mushroom Kingdom castle from all of the ghosts and goblins that are infesting.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about that as I was saying locations, and then I was like, no, I want it to be somewhere totally new. Or like him like in the forest exploring or something. But anyways, I just want...
But then you can't call it Luigi's Mansion then, because there's no mansion.
Okay, we'll call it Luigi's Ghost Hunt. I don't know, man. Okay, it's just...
The mansion burns down in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah. No, it doesn't matter. It just needs to be Luigi sucking up some dang ghosts, and I will be happy.
I think that one's like, in terms of like the meter, right, back and forth of like hopeful, pie in the sky, likely. I feel like that one's right in the middle.
Yeah, and I wonder too if they were to make another one, if they would put it on 3DS, 2DS, or if they put it on the Switch. I'd rather be on the Switch because I'm not really a big 3DS person. I don't have one right now, but like since they switched and made the second one, I guess, on 3DS, if they would stay there and keep the Switch open for other big games, or if they would slide it in somewhere.
Yeah, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but Nintendo has said there's a focus on new IP. We've seen it with ARMS, and maybe we'll see it with something else. But first, even though I would rather see focus be entirely on Switch, it's against my better judgment to think the 3DS is going away. So I think there's going to be a new Pokemon game announced. 3DS, Switch, I mean, where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's been a lot of smoke. I'm going to...
To be clear, you do not mean a new generation of Pokemon.
I think that it's going to be a Pokemon Stars game for 3DS. I feel like people are prepped and ready for a Switch title, but I feel like that's still a ways out.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that we don't think it's a new generation.
Pokemon is obviously coming to Switch, but I feel like they are going to get one more good oomph out of 3DS Pokemon. And I think that Stars, or whatever that rumored game is going to be on 3DS. Now, I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to see something on Switch, whether it's that or something entirely different. And maybe there is sort of an offshoot Pokemon that does hit Switch before a mainline. That's totally plausible and possible as well, sort of in the vein of Fire Emblem Warriors. But I feel strongly that Pokemon will make a showing. After that, I think Retro is going to be there, but with a new IP. We've talked, Gabe, like, is it Metroid? In the past, we've said, is it DK? Nintendo has emphasized new IP, and I think that Retro will be bringing a new IP. We've seen extreme love of Splatoon. ARMS is coming into its own. I think another new IP would just cement that, like, hey, the Switch is an evolution. It's a new generation, and it's going to be introducing these new characters, these new properties, and really try to build out some franchises for the future, and eventually graduating 3DS owners to the Switch. And what better way than with something like bold and big and new. So I think they're going to come in with something exciting.
It's not DK, but it is a King K. Rool island builder. You have to place the Kremlings and the lava pits and make the most dastardly island for the monkeys
That's
to
amazing.
die in.
Viva Pinata DK crossover. It's a Kremlin camp. I love it. Kremlin camp coming to Switch.
Yep.
No, but like, if this was my like personal palace
Train
of
or
game
claptrap.
releases, I would 100% want a new DK. But
unleash the bees.
Prediction in me says that we are not going to get a Squawk coming in and dropping crates of new Kremlins, and instead we're going to get a new
won't stand
IP.
a chance.
It's so good. I'm salivating over here, Jake. I'd even take Viva Pinata. I know it can't happen because of Microsoft, but I'd even take Viva Pinata on Switch. All right, I think there's going to be a big third-party announcement. We've seen in the last few days more rumblings of Call of Duty World War II. Beanox had a tweet about working on something, and some people, apparently some unidentified source, says, oh, it's a Switch port. There is the whole thing with Call of Duty having Nintendo account linking on their website. Some people say it's from before. Some people say it was removed and put back. I'm trying to think if there's any other like major tentpole third party that could be it. At this point, I feel like it's not Battlefront. I feel like it's not Assassin's Creed. I feel like Call of Duty is probably the one that it could be. But whether it's that or something else, I do feel like we get one sort of major bone from a big publisher saying like, yeah, we'll take our PS4, Xbox One title, put it on Switch, and that's going to inspire a lot of excitement from the audience. I would hope we get more than one, but let's play it safe and say one. And then my pie in the sky is kind of along the lines of games. I'm going to go with an Advance Wars revival. I feel like that franchise is underappreciated. I feel like it's a hidden gem. I feel like Battalion Wars was not it, and
Even
I think
though
if
they have
did,
Wargroove?
yeah, but if anything, Wargroove is just showing that like Nintendo needs to do it themselves, and not because Wargroove isn't good, but because there's clearly an audience for it. And with the extreme success of Fire Emblem as of late, it would be fitting that they drop Advance Wars, and I feel like that's something that, sort of like ARMS, you could really go in hard on the characters and make it like a very fun, give it more of a party mentality than it had in the past, and double down on that awesome gameplay. Plus, like, everybody's obsessed with wars lately, so this is a very topical game.
I honestly thought you were going to say something like Mario sports games, like Strikers or something.
I would love that. I would love that so much. I just feel like we had the Mario sports mix that was bad. Another thing, and just as we kind of close out a couple things, do you think that we do get any sense of smaller titles on the Switch?
Yeah,
sort of like that
bunch
mid-tier?
of indies probably also.
But from Nintendo?
Oh, no.
Or no, you think they're reserved just for box products?
I think for now they're focusing on big stuff.
I do hope we get something like, you know how like Box Boy was kind of like a cool, cute new franchise for the 3DS eShop. I hope we get something like that.
The thing is, I feel like their plate is full. Like Mario Rabbids, Xenoblade, Fire Emblem, Mario Odyssey. Like they're like that's 4 like big games. Like I think we get like maybe one more at the most.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing could very likely be there.
That's coming to mobile for sure.
Yeah.
So, I kind of feel like their plates. Like I'm worried about like how much new things do they show. I'm personally worried that we don't see anything.
Many.
Other than
how many?
Other than, yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. But no, maybe we just have a big Mario Odyssey blowout, and we get some Xenoblade details on Fire Emblem, and then that's it. And, well, of course, Mario Rabbids. Other than like that's a lot of stuff. Like think about it. Like publishers don't like release announce like 5 or 6 games. That's not a thing. Usually,
the difference is just like Nintendo has to basically carry this console unless their announcements are just like, hey, the third-party stuff is coming in quicker than we thought.
Yeah, maybe.
I feel like they have to show something because, yes, they do have Fire Emblem and Splatoon and Mario and Xenoblade, but they've got to have more than those 4.
What if Rabbids is there something?
Yeah, but from every other developer in the world, that's all they got? Like, I mean, I do feel what you're saying because I'm looking at this list, this picture that shows all the announced things for Switch, and so many of them have not been shown or have been shown and are still coming. So I feel like we do get like a montage of indies that are releasing this summer and maybe some new ones for the fall. I feel like we get some exclusive indies a la, SteamWorld Dig 2, things of that sort, or at least, exclusive windows for indies launching on Switch. But yeah, it could go either way. I guess it depends on how aggressive Nintendo wants to be in terms of pushing this. And if you feel that, like Jake mentioned, their initial presentation was more withholding than it was a sign of things to come.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And that's why I said in the beginning, I'm cautiously optimistic. Like, I honestly don't even know how disappointed I am if they just show like a bunch of stuff of things that we already know exist and then Mario Rabbids. Like, I don't think I'm that disappointed.
My
and that's what I was
faith
getting to,
meter is pretty high because of the directs that they've had and what they've unveiled so far. So I am riding the Nintendo wave right now, and even if it's not like a perfect spotlight, like I'm sure be satisfied with it.
Yeah, but I guess my point is more like, is them showing like a bunch of Mario Odyssey footage that all looks like amazing.
Yeah, no, I
Like,
understand what you're saying.
Like instead of a new game, like is that like enough?
I think they'd still have to do both, but only time will tell.
I think it's enough for the spotlight. I think it's not enough for prospective or current Switch owners because, yes, we haven't seen Mario Odyssey. Yes, I'm sure it's going to look awesome. Yes, I'm sure there will be some really cool features that blow us away, but people have known Mario Odyssey was coming since January. So I feel like you do have to do something to continue dropping carrots along the way, right? You can't just say like, ta-da, we're back, Mario Odyssey, Fire Emblem, Xenoblade. Yes, you knew about these, but here they are shown. Like, that's great, and that will be exciting, and like, maybe the 3 of us personally be satisfied, but from a wider business standpoint, I feel like they do have to continue showing their commitment to this console and that it's going to be more beyond what was initially revealed months ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, obviously, new things would be great, but I'm just a little trepidatious. Just a little bit.
Last thing I want to talk and touch on real quick is Mario Odyssey. Do you think there's going to be anything like super unique about it in terms of like, will there be some sort of co-op, or will there be any sort of online or anything that is out of the norm, or do you feel like it's just going to be, hey, a supercharged version of 64 Sunshine?
Mm-hmm. That one. I think it's going to be like, yeah, I think they're just going to double down on what they know like people want and what has worked in the past, and not really trying to think new. I mean, obviously like new worlds and like the hub world of you flying around or whatever will be a little bit unique, but I think that, yeah, it's just going to be the same kind of just the next step in the series of games as opposed to like some weird brand new thing.
I do wonder, just because Zelda took a lot of risks, if there will be a few of those in Mario.
I mean, they put them with real people. That's a risk.
That is true. New Donk City. Maybe they'll recreate New Donk City as the booth.
Maybe.
And like, yes, they'll still have other games, but New Donk City is where you experience it. We will have to see, though. In less than 3 weeks, we will be there, and we will be bringing you all the coverage we possibly can. We'll have 3 of us there recording and showing off a whole bunch. We'll be doing nightly updates. We'll be posting a bunch of gameplay. We'll be giving you all of our impressions, eventually recaps and reviews, and we will be doing some live stuff as well. So make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on all the latest and greatest from Nintendo, from E3, and from us. Don't forget to let us know your predictions for E3 in the comments down below. We want them. Give them to us. Let us know why, what, and who you're predicting to show up in that spotlight. And we will come back with a comment force later this week dedicated specifically to your E3 predictions, our reactions, and replies and responses to what you come up with. In the meantime, though, I think it's going to be a good show. I think there is so much positivity and hype right now around Nintendo. I feel like they have to carry that torch forward, right? I feel like this is their moment to shine. They've set themselves up perfectly, and now they just need to deliver. But we'll find out.
I'm just excited to see Gabe's arm skills in person.
Yes, that's another good thing. Arms in person.
You're not ready for that.
We'll get to play Mario. We'll get to play ARMS. It's going to be a great week. Until then, though, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Hit that like button if you enjoyed and are pumped for E3. For myself, Jake, and Gabe, SwitchForce out.